grow up, and what made you want to do music?
I don't really remember why I wanted to join band, but band was a big deal in Hammond, Indiana, where I grew up, and in our grade school, and in fact in the whole city. And I remember a friend on the block and I wanted to play flute in band. But flute. Yep. Yeah. We were gonna be and then we got in a big fight. I don't know over what.
I'm sure you were.
When you're in fourth grade,
yeah.
you know, things. And I said, well, just for that, I'm gonna play clarinet.
Oh.
So I did.
Yeah.
So, I showed her.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So,
but, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
It was.
Obviously so.
It was not something that we were made to do, but it was very popular to be in band in all the grade schools and all the high schools. So that was kind of the start of it. I think, if I can remember, I think we had band every day. Once I got to junior high, we had band every day, but everybody studied privately, which was real different.
Yeah.
You didn't even consider not taking private lessons.
Okay.
And it was a blue-collar town, and it was a steel mill town, because it was really Hessville, Indiana, which is kind of a suburb of Hammond. And then everybody had to play in solo contest. So every year we went to 2 or 3 solo contests. You memorized your solos. You played with piano.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is an intense kind of.
And played with piano accompaniment, and we went to, and then some ensembles, some chamber music ensembles, and all the way from grade school through high school.
Yeah, were you like the star clarinetist?
No, there were lots of star clarinetists. Yeah, because our grade school band director was a clarinet major, and then so I studied with her privately from 5th grade through senior year in high school, and it was kind of the norm. But she put out such really, really good clarinet players.
Yeah. Okay.
She really did.
Yeah. And
we were kind of the stars of the district contest and the Hammond City contest, and then the Indiana State solo contest.
Yeah.
And judges would say, "Oh, Glenda Benjamin students." Okay, they would sit back and listen.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool.
because she was such a good teacher.
Yeah. Interesting. So you went to Vandercook for your undergrad, right?
Yes, I
did. So how did you pick Vandercook? Because
Glenda Benjamin, my clarinet teacher, came to Vandercook.
That's what I was just about to ask. I was going to ask, was she a Vandercook connection?
She went to Butler University for her undergrad degree, and I was wanting to go there. But then when she started her master's degree here, the routine was that master's degree students came to Vandercook on Saturdays throughout the school year, and then also in the summertime for the 6 weeks, or actually it was 8 weeks, I think, back then. And every Saturday morning she would bring me to Vandercook.
Oh, really?
To play in the band and to take lessons with Dr. Zajac. And then I sat in on theory classes and arranging classes with Forrest Bucktel. We called him Frosty. And so I decided that I didn't want to go to Butler, and I didn't want to go to Indiana University, which is what my parents wanted. I needed to come to Vandercook, so I did.
Really? Okay. What was Vandercook like then?
It was the same basic curriculum. H.E. Nutt was one of our profs. He was not the band director then. Vic Zajac was one of our band directors and clarinet teacher, and Haskell Haar was our percussion teacher, and Forrest Bucktel was our brass teacher.
Those are a lot of big important names.
Yeah.
You still see their names showing.
Harris Berg was our string teacher, and Dan Tkach was our choral teacher, vocal instructor. There were, by the time I graduated, I think there were 104 undergrad students, and 4 of us were female.
Only 4?
Only 4.
So what was that like, being a female student at
It was
Vandercook?
fine.
It was fine?
Yeah, you learn to hold your own.
Yeah.
So there was, and I hung out with all the guys who were 2 years older than I, because they were more fun.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, we're still all good friends today.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This is kind of the group right there.
Oh, is it? This
Yeah,
picture?
part of the group.
Okay.
Mhm.
What did they play? Were they all clarinet or?
No, well, that was my husband, trombone player.
Okay.
Trumpet, trombone, clarinet. What did Damali play? Trumpet, euphonium. You know what? They were all brass players.
Do they all still? Do you know? Do they still play, or do they go and become band directors?
One of the fellows still plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, the trumpet player, Louis, he still plays, and then Rick Maurer, he still plays. He plays a lot of jazz trombone. In fact, I'm going to go see he and his wife during spring break in DC.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So.
It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And you grew thick skin
Yeah.
hanging out with all these guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
It's cool.
I think it taught me grit.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you might guess.
Well, you mentioned H.E. Nutt. What was he like in person?
He was truly kind of an amazing man. It's hard to describe, and you know, it's one of those things that you never really appreciate what you had until you don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He was pretty dogmatic because he knew what he knew.
Mm-hmm.
And he spent so much time analyzing and developing teaching techniques and materials, in thinking through all kinds of conceptual scenarios to help, and then trying to figure out a way to simplify so that we could understand, take it down to the lowest common denominator, and you know, just so we could become better teachers. And he was relentless that we had to do everything his way.
Yeah.
And we were pretty.
Were you good students? Were you a good student?
We were good students, but we were a little belligerent sometimes.
Oh, okay. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Think about what that means.
But and you know but I think that's pretty typical of young people.
Yeah.
Late teens, early 20s is you think you know it all.
Yeah.
And you've got your ideas and think that your opinions matter too.
Mm-hmm.
Only to come to find out, your opinions don't matter. He knew that we were smart. He knew that we were creative.
Yeah.
But he also knew that we didn't know what we were talking about half the time. You know?
Yeah.
And we needed to learn. And he wanted us to learn exactly, how do I put it? To do and teach exactly the way he wanted us, almost like being a parrot.
Yeah.
And just parroting everything the way he said it. Because then it was comfortable. You get in the classroom and you have a way of presenting this to kids that's sure-fired.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to think about what you're going to do next. You would just, H.E. said do this, you did that. H.E. said do this, you did that.
Yeah.
And it was mindless, practically.
Yeah.
Because you were so well trained. And then it was after you developed some experience and that you could start adapting what he said to fit your situation, and then maybe add some of your own ideas. It took me a very long time to figure that one out.
Yeah.
It's like H.E. was the man that you love to hate.
Yeah.
And then you love to love him. You learn to love him.
Yeah. So then you graduated Vandercook 1969, and what did you do? So there's time, right? You didn't start teaching right back at Vandercook when you graduated.
No,
What did you do in between that?
I taught at Oak Therapeutic School,
Okay.
which was a school for behavior disorder children from, I think the youngest was pretty close to kindergarten all the way through high school. The president of the school was Dorothy Beckerman, and John Beckerman, who was who was my music history teacher here at Vandercook, and was part of the first graduating class, was on faculty at Vandercook.
Yeah.
Which is how I got to know Dorothy and Oak Therapeutic School. So I taught music therapy
Okay.
for 4 years.
Yeah.
I never became a band director.
Really? And you just, okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It was because the fact that we were 4 women here, and most schools refused to hire women as a band director.
Really?
They
Yeah.
actually told me that
Oh.
on interviews. Well, you can't be a band director. Only men can be band directors.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, and then I started teaching private clarinet in a lot of different high schools and colleges around while raising a family.
Okay.
And then it wasn't until Dr. Zajac retired when the president at the time, who was somebody I went to Vandercook with, Jim Gilworth, asked Dr. Zajac who he would recommend to take his place as clarinet instructor, and he said, Ruth Rhodes.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
So here I am.
So now then you ended up here. So
Yep.
now so you went and taught music therapy and then
private clarinet for about 15
And
years or so.
yeah. And
In
then-
a lot of high schools on the southwest side,
Yeah.
in western suburbs, and several colleges too,
Yeah.
all adjunct.
Okay. Cool. And then you ended up
So,
back here as
back
an
in-
applied clarinet
Yeah.
instructor, which I think I had.
That was 1987
Okay. Yeah.
that I came back here.
Back to Vandercook. Then you were the applied clarinet instructor. So what was that like? Was it just, did you like it or?
I did. I had a good rapport with all of my students. We did a lot of cool stuff. Created a clarinet choir. I got the Buffet Clarinet Company to donate
Really?
enough clarinets to create a clarinet choir.
Okay.
So 2 B flats, an A, an E flat, a basset horn, an alto clarinet, a bass clarinet. I think that was it. Yeah.
Cool.
So I started a clarinet choir,
Yeah.
and I like teaching the private lessons
Yeah.
and preparing kids for recitals.
Yeah. Now, were you an adjunct faculty member at that point
Yeah.
still?
Because I was still at Benedictine University and St. Xavier University, and then several high schools.
Okay.
I was still doing.
So you're still just
Sir.
kind of teaching clarinet.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
you ended up as the Dean of Graduate Studies?
Well, first I became Dr. Rosenthal's executive assistant.
Okay.
So
Also, Dr. Rosenthal was the president when you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah, Jim Gilworth left, and then Dr. Rosenthal took over.
Okay.
And then I decided I needed a full-time job.
Yeah.
So I got a little discombobulated with the bell schedule one day. And because every college, every high school had a different schedule,
Yeah.
every day going, 2 and 3 places, and I messed up and forgot to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I went, oh no. I said, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
One
I
place.
I barely keep track of my schedule here.
Yeah.
So
I started as her assistant
Okay.
and still taught clarinet, and then eventually started teaching some of the techniques classes. I really don't remember the
Way it happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
and how long each
Yeah.
level took to achieve.
Yeah.
And then I became the director of continuing education, MECA director
Okay. So Mr. Benson does
first.
now. Okay.
Yeah, first.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Rosenthal asked me to be graduate dean. And then, so I think I was MECA director for 18 years, and then graduate dean for 19 years, and they overlapped by a couple of years.
Yeah.
Those 2 jobs.
Because I know still some people, like Malou,
Mhm.
who was here, some of the, and then they called you Dean Rhodes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I remember being a freshman, and I think Matt Butler would call you Dean Rhodes. And I
Yeah.
think that was because like the seniors when he were freshmen had still
Yeah.
like it was kind of an interesting.
Yeah, Jeremy Kochman calls me,
Yeah.
or however he says his last name. Sorry, Jeremy.
Coachman.
Sorry, Jeremy. He
So-
calls me Dean Rhodes.
How has Vandercook changed over your years here? How was it?
I think we've done a good job of staying true to the original mission and maintaining the important part of the original curriculum. staying focused on
Yeah.
music education and the pragmatic aspect of teaching music. I think it's improved because we created the choral track and the string track.
There never used to be
No, we always sang, we always had all the string classes and some general music, not to the extent that there is today, but everybody came in as a band major.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Now what if you didn't play a band instrument? You just didn't?
You just didn't come here.
Yeah, okay. That's
And then we
interesting.
started out to expand to include choral majors.
Okay.
And we were still in the building on Michigan Avenue when that happened. It was quite a while, because I think it was, I created the string track for the graduate school first, and then I don't know how many years that was in place before we decided to expand it to the undergrad program.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm glad we've done that. But we also have more to do because of state mandates than when I was a student here.
Oh, really?
So you guys have a lot more classes that you have to take
To get the degree and be.
to get the.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to water down any of the music education courses because that's why we're here.
Well, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. The way things are now, we work to create strong music educators.
Mhm.
But when I was at Vandercook, they worked to create strong band directors.
Okay, so it's more well-rounded now. They're trying.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we were known as killer band directors back in the day
Yeah.
because, I mean, we really focused on band directing.
Yeah. Mhm.
And conducting was everything.
Really?
But,
Yeah. Okay.
But I think you guys get a more well-rounded music education now. We always had to be in everything,
Yeah.
every semester.
Oh, every semester.
Yep. You
Okay.
guys, in that regard, you guys have it easy. And we all had to, there was a lot of performing. We didn't play as many concerts,
Yeah.
but we had to play a lot of solo work in front of the student body.
Mhm.
Sort of the equivalent to VCM seminar now.
Okay.
We had to play a solo every 6 weeks in front of the
Oh,
student
really?
body.
Yeah.
Everybody
That's
did,
a lot.
regardless.
That's a lot.
And then the upperclassmen would judge us, practice judging.
Oh, that's stressful.
Yeah, that was, because
Were they
some of
nice?
them- No. You know, well, sometimes they were funny, sometimes they were brutal.
Yeah.
It depended on who
Uh-huh.
it was.
Yeah.
It could be pretty funny though.
Yeah,
Some of
yeah.
the comments, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I think it would be cool to do that nowadays.
It would be a bad idea at seminar
Mhm.
for the juniors and seniors to practice
Mhm.
those skills. That's why I do that in the
Mhm.
Woodman Techniques classes, to give
Yeah.
you guys some experience.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
listening fast and writing fast and
Mhm.
thinking fast.
All right, so what do you see Vandercook in 20 years from now? So you've been here for,
I don't know, what's
I mean,
2020 minus
so 2040.
1987?
Yeah, I mean, however long you've been
Yeah,
here.
I don't know.
So what do you think it's going to be? How do you think it's going to change?
I don't know that it's gonna change a lot as far as the structure. I hope it's still around. I mean, now it's going on, it's in 1909.
It's over 100 years, right?
Yeah, 110 years,
Yeah.
some
111.
11 years. I think it should remain independent,
Mhm.
but, because as soon as you combine with somebody else's institution, then they start governing
You start
what
to
you do
lose
and how
what-
you do and
Mhm.
questioning
Yeah.
the importance of this, the importance of that.
Well, yeah, because this is the only school that I mean, I haven't really looked around too much else, but this is the only place that does it how
Mhm.
we do it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
I think it's getting harder to recruit because when you come to Vandercook, you have to know what you want to be when you grow up.
Mhm.
And a lot of high school students go to college to discover themselves and figure out, you know,
Mhm.
and often don't even declare a major or do and then change and change and change again.
Yeah.
And when they get out of college, they still haven't decided what they
Mhm.
want to be when they grow up.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and you guys have to know
Oh, yeah,
that
because it's complete.
Mhm. if you want to change your major, you have to leave Vandercook.
Mhm. And that's a hard thing about it, so you gotta get people that know what they
Yeah.
want coming in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Takes a certain level of maturity to think like that as a high school senior.
Mm-hmm. The people going through our curriculum, we're gonna leave, and I think we're gonna have a better understanding of what it's like to be a teacher and to be a real, like, educator and adult leaving here, because just all the responsibilities and the juggling that we have to do here with scheduling and stuff like that.
And I like the fact that you have opportunities to see the other side of a music education program in the setting up for clinics and concerts and tearing, all of that
Yeah.
behind the scenes stuff that I never had.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
maybe the boys did, but the girls weren't allowed.
I'm sure you could have shown them a thing or two. Well, final thing, we're going to end it. If you had to give one piece of advice to future teachers, to the future teachers of Vandercook, what would you give? One piece of advice.
I think it would be what I say in classes a lot: trust your knowledge. You're smart people, you've been well educated, you're good musicians. Trust what you know and apply it every day. And Mr. Vandercook used to say, teach everything you know every day.
Yeah.
And you'll never run out of anything to you'll do well.
Yeah.
So trust yourself.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
doing this. So
You're welcome.
It's
It was
been
a pleasure.
really great hearing your story and a lot of interesting
Thanks.
things to hear about. So yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
So.